would love to get like a sex worker who's a gamer.
Just normal, man. Just innocent, man.
Fuck you, Wallace Shawn. Never, never will that be true. That's not what a cat penis looks like.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
Listen, ma'am. Hang on. No, come on now. Listen, I'm a big shot now. I've gone Hollywood. Welcome to Gavin Games, folks, for Friday. Moxie wants you to know in the chat. He says, I like men. Good for you, Moxie. Good for you. Let it all hang out, baby. I got into a bit of a, not a kerfuffle scuffle, but, you know, I was talking to some people about online a video I made yesterday regarding Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, saying, hey, we're probably not going to put Spider-Man 2 out unless they change some shit. And every time. Unless they change some shit. And it's not official yet, but it's kind of like rumors and stuff. It's LGBT stuff that's worrying them and shit. And oh my God, the minute I start, it's just like clockwork, man. You have to understand, I'm an actual father. I have father duties, so, you know, back the fuck off. Anyway, the point is, I was surprised a little bit because, you know, they came at me like, well, this is our culture. I don't want to get into politics, though, not on Friday. Politics should be a Friday-free zone. I heard that Alex S. Alex S. says I could not get a Spider-Man 2 faceplate anywhere. Sold out in seconds. I guess so. What? What the fuck? Why are these... I don't... listen, this is why I don't work in video games in that way anymore. I don't know what the kids like. The fact that some fucking plastic plates put on the side of your fucking PlayStation have fucking sold out, and they've become like an in-demand product. Again, good. I'm glad if you got them, or if you didn't get them, that's great. But I just cannot, for the life of me, understand like why anybody gives a fuck. PG says, I want a Spider-Man faceplate. Okay, but why? Like, is it in your room and it's on display? I mean, I don't know. I'm not judging so much as I'm confused. Like, my PlayStation 5 sits under my desk. I barely look at it. I went down there to move some wires around the other day, and I realized there was a bunch of Diet Coke stains all over it that I spilled a Coke a couple of weeks ago, and I guess I didn't realize it hit the PlayStation. Will you be playing Spider-Man 2 day one? Of course. I'm very excited for it now. The last trailer that they showed at Comic-Con has me adjusted. It's not my most anticipated game. That would be Starfield, but I am looking forward to it. Instant Messenger, Sama, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, I wish you would have made a Berserk game, Papa. The closest we came is when we were designing when we were designing God of War 1, we were playing a lot of Melee games, and there was a PS2. I don't think it was PS1, but the one we played, I think, was a PS2 Japanese game based on Berserk, the anime, where the guy had that goddamn massive fucking sword. So that was pretty fucking cool. Hey, it's V. What's up, buddy? He says, I have good news, I have bad news. The good news is that Twisted Metal 3 is no longer the worst Twisted Metal. I'm assuming you didn't like the show. We'll talk about the show in just a little bit, but let's get going with today's news. I can't get the jingle to play, so I'll just sing it to you. That's pretty much what it's saying. I don't know why the actual music's not playing. But anyway, the point is, let's get right into the news and talk about what is happening today. Yeah, Serve says Xbox had a huge announcement that Final Fantasy XIV MMO and future Square games are coming to Xbox. I mean, is that a big fucking deal? Is that a big fucking deal? I mean, aren't there already Final Fantasy games coming to Xbox? They're not saying it's on Game Pass, right? They're just saying that, hey, it's just saying that we'll put Final Fantasy, right? I mean, maybe what Serve says it is a big deal. Well, what makes it a big deal? I mean, Final Fantasy has been on Xbox before, and 14, I guess, has not. I understand that the MMO is not on Xbox, but I guess people are excited. I mean, that's great. That's wonderful, I suppose. And that's free to play, right? So it wouldn't be on Game Pass anyway. The real medic for you guys don't even understand. Somebody asked me this earlier today about royalties. He says, I can't believe that I sold all my rights to Twisted Metal and God of War and other characters. He doesn't even own 10% and he's the creator. You guys don't understand. It isn't like that. I worked for Sony as a employee, right? They paid my medical insurance. They put money into Social Security. They paid me a wonderful salary every 2 weeks, always on time, never checks bounced. That was the deal I made with them, and I. It was, I'm not going to be one of these guys that 10 years from now you're going to hear Jaffe suing Sony for rights. No, I've never had any preconceived ideas that I was owed anything other than what they paid me. I mean, that's sort of the deal I made with them. And I'm more than happy to honor that deal because they took great care of me when I worked for them. So I don't have any issues with that. But don't get me wrong. If they want to toss me a couple of percentage points, I'll take them. Moser says, how much is the salary for a game designer? Well, I wasn't really a game designer in terms of when I was an associate producer when I made those games because we didn't even have game designers. And then after that, though, I was like game director. I don't know. So it goes up and down the board, man. Up and down the board. Okay, so look. look, but I will tell you if you want to know, because I know that's what you want to know, and I don't fucking care. When I first started working at Sony as a tester, I made $20,000 a year, which blew my fucking mind. I could not fathom I would be making that much money out of college. I was like, holy shit, 20 grand a year. It was a lot of money back then for me. And by the time the most I ever made at Sony in a year was like about $600K. And that was like probably 2005, 2006 when God of War had come out. The first one had dropped to greatest hits. We'd announced the second one. There were still some royalties trickling in from Twisted Metal Black. It was a great salary. So anywhere between $20,000 and $600,000 was my salary there. All right, let's move forward. We will get to the Twisted Metal show, but before we get there, I want to talk about just some other stuff that's happening in the world that look, I think I don't care what your friends tell you. I think you deserve to know. I think you need to know what I'm spending my time playing, because that's important to me. Boy, I'll tell you, this is pretty fun so far. I picked up Double Dragon, what is it called? Gaiden, Rising Dragons or whatever. I picked this up today. It's out today. It's $22. And I've only played it for about an hour so far, and it's not as roguey as I had hoped. The high concept was it was Double Dragon beat 'em up mixed with a rogue, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I guess that's in there, but I don't fully understand what transfers life to life or whatever, but it's still really good. It's a lot of fun. It's very old school, but it still has a little bit of depth to it. You can play it multiplayer. I don't know if it's online. It probably is, but you got tag team guys. So you pick two characters that you can switch in between, and it was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. So right now, I've been playing a lot of this. I'll be playing this more. I'm on the fence with this one, fellas. Everybody's talking about Remnant 2, and I was so close to pulling the trigger on this game and picking this up today, but I'm so close to finishing Elden Ring, and I really want to finish Elden Ring, and then I really want to play Baldur's Gate 3, and then I'm kind of like, a Souls projectile shooter. Is this the one I want to play first? Or then I started watching the Armored Core 6. I read a bunch of previews, and then I just watched the Straight from the Horse's Mouth from Bandai Namco trailer. It's like 15, 13 minutes of gameplay, and it just looks really fucking fun, man. I get, the only Armored Core I've ever played was Armored Core 1 or 2. I don't know which one came to America first, but I played that when I worked for Sony. I played it for all of 30 minutes, and I'm like, it's not for me. But I've evolved as a gamer. I've changed as a gamer. And I'm much more interested in a game like this now, especially now that I've really come to love Souls games, and I'm very interested in the customization of this game. And all of this shit. So I'm kind of looking at this and going, do I play this first or do I play Remnant first? I don't know, really. But I'm not going to do either until I finish Elden Ring, which I'm so close. Sometimes I get to a point, I'm like, oh, I don't want to deal with bosses right now. And then it's just like, right, Bill Bone says Lords the Fallen too. Right. There's just so much coming out. I don't know, man. I'm not going to get to play it all. I mean, I want to be informed about everything. But it's hard to fucking finish anything when you're informed about everything. But we'll see. Kraken Pine says, I like it when the mechs fight in the cities. I do too. So far, I have not seen any city combat in this game. I've seen, factory combat, snow, desert. There's that one thing, I'm sure. Hello, Real Medic. See you soon, buddy. This thing was awesome. This thing where you're going out into the desert and trying to take down this massive whatever the fuck it is. It's like a walking factory, like AT-AT from Star Wars or Empire. And you can blow its legs off and it, stops walking and shit. This just looks pretty fucking cool. It looks pretty fucking cool. I'm excited for this. So I'll be playing this for sure. Even if it's hard, I can work with that because now, I know enough about these kind of games now, and I'll, fucking spec out my little dude. The one thing I don't get, though, is you can put these guys on tank treads, but I don't know how they can hop, right? I mean, can I ever get way up in the sky with a tank tread fucking mech? I don't know. But anyway, I'm excited. This will be coming out next month. So hopefully I can fucking finish Dave the Diver and Elden Ring before this fucking thing drops. Okay. You can float, Uncensored Maverick says. When you have tank treads, you can float? And you can jump like that high? Interesting. Yeah, and then Baldur's Gate is coming. It's nuts, man. It's absolutely nuts. Listen to this. DICE reflects on Battlefield 2042's long road to redemption. I'm going to tell you something about this. I'm going to play this weekend because apparently it's gotten really good. I mean, EA, to their credit, has spent 18 months post-launch of a game that was just beat up to all get out by the fans and the press, and they said, nope, fix it. Just keep paying the people, get it fixed, get it good. And apparently they've turned a corner. Battlefield is free to play. It's my understanding is 2042 is free to play on Steam. I know it's free to play on PlayStation. I assume that's the case on Xbox. So I did play it when it first dropped for free on Xbox a while ago, but it wasn't with a lot of these upgrades. So if anybody's playing it in the chat, let me know if it really is worth my time or anybody who's watching or listening's time. But according to the press, it's starting to turn a corner. Adnan plays it. He says it's insanely fun now. Chaotic little battles within the big battle. Kyle says, I love when devs redeem games, but hate this is becoming a thing now. Buy a broken game and wait. Pay us to fix it. Yeah, but that's us. That's not them. Stop buying them. It was a monthly game, but maybe it went full free to play, says Billy Bones. Yeah, I think that's what happened. Oh, wow. Adnan says, I just played 6 hours straight. So let me ask you this. Is it meaningfully different now than Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? Like, can you play them now and go, okay, these are both, I don't know if you like Modern Warfare, but they're very different breeds now, or does it just feel more like Call of Duty? But yeah, I'll give it a play. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, let's talk about Twisted Metal. That's Project Runway. I had hoped that I would get lucky and this would just be on the Twisted Metal roulette, but it's on Peacock, but it's not. There we go, our boy Twisted Metal. So if you're a Cult Calypso member or above, nothing to do with this, but just letting you know, I'll be looking at some things in the Discord in the Cult Calypso room later today. Hang on one sec, fellas. What's up? Okay, so, but anyway, yeah, so if you're a Cult of Calypso member, I'll be around 5:30, we'll be looking at some stuff in the Discord. But the point is, let's talk about Twisted Metal, the TV show. Sitting at a 66, 67 Metacritic right now, audience reviews 91. I watched the first 3 episodes yesterday, and I have to say, I really fucking like it. Now, I am probably the last person that you want to go to for a, hang on, let me just get off this fucking shit. Twisted Metal. I'm the last person you want to go to for, Days of Our Lives. Oh my God, my fucking parents, my mom used to watch this when I was a kid. I was like, no. I'm the last person you fucking want to get a real review from. Oh my God, just show me some art so I can talk, you fucking dumb computer. I'm so old. Here, images. Show me. There we go. Give me that. That's all I need, baby. Because I got to tell you guys something. This is a brand new experience. Oh my God, this is a brand new experience for me. I never really expected this to happen. And I certainly never expected to enjoy it as much as I am. I always said, even when the marketing or PR or whoever was involved really fucked up, And I don't think it ultimately harmed them. A good review is going to be what matters in word of mouth, especially when it's a subscription service. But, you know, they didn't do themselves many favors in promoting this show. But I will tell you that my take on it is a great deal of fun. It reminds me very much of Twisted Metal 1 and 2. What I think is interesting about it, and again, I have a very unique perspective, but you have to remember that, I mean, Twisted Metal 1 is incredibly different thematically than 2, and 2 is drastically different than Black, and Twisted Metal 2012 is kind of trying to push Black and 2 together. World Tour Twisted Metal kind of is trying to be 2, and then 3 and 4 are these things that I don't really know. But I know a lot of kids grew up with those, and it was nice to see Sweet Tooth in his Twisted Metal 3 or 4 suit, and you know. But the point is, though, if I had made the show, I would have just gone Twisted Metal Black. I would have made a dark fucking horror show. But I'm going to tell you something right now. This is why I was never a professional linear storyteller. Okay, because whenever I made Twisted Metals, right, the only time the fiction really worked perfectly was when it was drawn, hand art, because the insanity worked with that art style. But when I tried to do it with live action, or I tried to do it, unless it was Black, which was serious, I always took it serious. And this show seems to be like it totally knows how to thread that needle of it's fun, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it takes itself seriously enough that you can still get engaged with the characters and you can get engaged with the story, but you also can kind of enjoy and be in on the joke, you know, laughing at the ridiculousness of it. And I always just took it serious. And so people would come to me and say, Jaffe, your shit is so cheesy and corny. And I'm like, no, I'm serious about it. Like, even those original Twisted Metal 1 movies, people now look at it and they go, oh my God, it's so bad, it's good. But back then, when I made them, I was absolutely trying to be a straight storyteller. Just like, no, this is a cool creep show story, right? So this is why I could never get my head around how to do what they're doing here. But what they're doing here is its own thing, but it's clearly heavily marinated in the DNA of Twisted Metal. And I think that's fucking great, man. And I love all the fan service. What I don't know is if you're not a fan of the games or you don't know the games and you watch it, does it work, right? Does it hold up as just a genuine TV show? There's no way I could fucking answer that. I have no fucking clue. Because I have to admit, a percentage of the fun of this for me is, oh, look, Harold the Wacky Lunch Sack is in the fucking thing. Or, oh, look, you know, I think it was somebody in the chat yesterday pointed out to me that Raven's bar is named Kelly, which was her girlfriend in Twisted Black, right? If you ripped all those out, I don't know. Justin LeClaire in the chat says, I watched it with friends who didn't play it, and they absolutely loved it. I think that's great. That's excellent. I love that. And I know, oh, and Trevor says his brother never played it. He loves it. So I know where season 2 is headed, and I got to tell you, when I was talking to the Sony folks a while back, I expected never to get to season 2 because I was just like, it just, you know, it hadn't come together yet, and people were like, is this going to work? And I'll be fucking honest with you. I think I can say this shit now. Uncharted was the same fucking thing. They were like, I don't know if this is going to fucking work. I mean, these things, not all of them. I don't think anybody's worried about Gran Turismo. I don't think anybody's worried about Last of Us. But I think these two were like, is this... They came together late. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited that people seem to really be liking it because it means we might get more of it. Jar says you better be a cameo. They asked me to be a cameo this time. I just didn't want to go down to the New Orleans, but I'll go now because COVID's over and everything. Yeah, no, man. I'll tell you something. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. I'll tell you one more thing before we move on. I am not a legacy guy, right? I'm not one of these guys that is like, oh, you have to make your mark and all this shit. But when I was talking to someone last night about this, I said, the cool thing is, if this works and if it's successful enough to get a couple of seasons, and maybe eventually there'll be a comic or a game or whatever, it's just kind of cool to know that one day when I'm long gone, hopefully very long from now, who knows, Kratos and Sweet Tooth could potentially still be out there in some form or fashion. That's amazing to me. I've never really thought about that. It was never on my mind. And now I'm like, again, I didn't do this. I couldn't make a show this good. I could make a cool, entertaining show, but it would be entertaining because it would be like a literal car crash. It wouldn't be because it was as good as this shit. I don't know how to do that. But point being, though, is the contributions I made or the contributions that Scott made and Michael and Kellen and all the whole fucking Mike Yon, the whole team, Alan Becker, when we're dead and gone, it's possible the way Sony's handling their shit, maybe these things will still be out there repping us. That's cool, man. I never thought about that. That's fucking cool. I like that. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to finish it up. And obviously now with the strike and everything, who the fuck knows what's going to happen, how long it's going to take. And I don't even know what is all these streaming services are struggling a bit. Peacock is certainly one of the last places or close to the last place. I don't know. I don't know what they need as a sign of success to say that's enough to merit a sequel. That's interesting to me. It's not class. Itchy Tasty says, the way you always credit the whole team, class. We'll talk about this in just a minute. It leads into one of the stories we have today. I mean, I am a very classy guy. When I drink, I hold my pinky up and everything. Even when I pee, I hold my penis with my pinky up. But that said, though, me crediting the team is not an issue of class. It's an issue of, it's just true. Hang on. That sneeze was brought to you by Allegra. You having a hard time with allergies this season? Not a problem. Allegra's there for you. You take one little pill. Some people only need half a pill. Save you money. You don't have to use the whole goddamn thing. Take a crack of it, stick it up your anus. Now, you got to hold it there for about 45 seconds. It'll start to burn. What I have found is if you sing God Bless America really, really at the highest level, by the time you're done with that, the 45 seconds are up. You shit it out. You feel great the rest of the day. That's Allegra, people. Come on by and pick up a free sample here at the studio. Hey, Ricardo Estevez. Ricardo, did you get that thing I sent you? All right, fellas. Let's move forward. But I'm into it. Again, Cult Calypso members, swing on by the Discord about 5:30. I got something to show you. Oh, by the way, somebody was telling me this. I don't really father or follow G Fuel, but apparently they got something going on with Twisted Metal. They do a lot of collectors cans and boxes and shit, bottles. If you go to their app, there's a big space there for Twisted Metal. I don't think they've announced what it is, but if you follow this stuff, they might be putting out some fucking Twisted Metal cans, bottles, special edition G Fuel. So, kick into it if you're into that thing. I think the whole point of Twisted Metal for non-fans of the series will be missed until the final episode. Yeah, I know what's happening in that final episode. Interesting, huh? Okay, let's move forward. Star Wars. This is fascinating to me. Star Wars game director, and I'm excited for this. This is Star Wars Outlaws. He's gone on record. He says it is absolutely not a 200 or 300 hour epic unfinishable RPG. Fellow goes by the name of Julian Garrity. Not sure if that's his real name or an alias, but the point is he says that they're not taking The epic whole thing of England recreated approach that we saw in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. He says the game will be manageable in size for both players and developers at Ubisoft Massive. The reason this is interesting to me, not only because I don't want to fucking play another Ubisoft map filled with fucking little markers and go collect pirate shanties all fucking day long, bloated monstrosity. But it's interesting because maybe it also suggests Ubisoft is listening to fans. Because you're also seeing a similar thing happening with Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage, where they're going out of their way to say, don't worry about it. It's not going to be the big fucking thing. Even though Assassin's Creed Valhalla was the best-selling Assassin's Creed ever, isn't that interesting? Like, what do you take from that? You look, maybe they look at their completion rate, and they go, okay, well, we know that Valhalla was huge, but we also know that maybe it was one of the lowest completion rates of any Assassin's Creed, so we've pushed too far. I have no idea, because when you make that much money, you would think the powers that be are kind of like going, don't fucking do anything different. Don't breathe on it wrong. Don't look at it. Just fucking do the same thing, whatever it was, because we want more of those ducats. That's what you would think would happen. But now the narrative coming out of Ubisoft is, hey, we're not gonna fucking, hell, even Garrity calls it, we're not gonna make an unfinishable RPG. He says this is a very focused action adventure RPG that will take people on a ride and is very manageable. Perfect. It's exactly what I want. Thank you, Ubisoft. Thank you for fucking listening. Gravity says, unfortunately, though, Jaffe, that's nice for you to have the fantasies in your brain pan. Unfortunately, Ubisoft said before Valhalla came out that it would be shorter than Odyssey, but it ended up being 30 hours longer. Stop it. Stop it. I saw they canceled Phoenix Rising. I want to talk about that briefly. So that's another piece of Ubisoft news. They canceled Immortals Phoenix Rising. Is interesting to me. The fact that they even had a sequel. I mean, it was a good game. I played it for, I don't know how long I played it for, but I played it for about 3 hours. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it enough to keep playing it because there's a million other things to play. It was kind of like I've played this kind of game before. But it is interesting that they greenlit a sequel. The sequel was in development, early development, and then they said, yeah, we only want to greenlight from now on our biggest properties, right? And apparently this was set to go into other mythologies like Hawaiian Polynesian. This is from Video Games Chronicle. I did not know there was a DLC for it that did Chinese mythology. So I just look at it, though, and I know if you don't know this game, it's pretty much, it's thematically open world God of War, right? It's Greek mythology, monsters, gods, titans. It's really fucking good. It's really fucking good if you like this kind of game. But the art style is so childish and so Fortnite that I'm just kind of wondering, what did they expect would occur? What did they expect? They expected this to be a big fucking hit. Like, I look at this and go, all they needed to do, I had this experience when we did Calling All Cars. All they needed to do was take this and make it M-rated, make it bloody and violent, and they would have probably had their next big franchise. Honest to God. Totally fucking true. It's not that I didn't like the art style. Adam in the chat says I'm more into colorful looks. I am too. I don't think this is a bad art style aesthetically, but I do think that thematically speaking, this is not going to be appealing to the people who are spending $60, $70. The people who are going to vibe with this are playing a bunch of fucking free-to-play games and playing Roblox and all that shit. So, I don't really understand why they went this road. You think they would be a more, market research company. Maybe this is what the market research told them. I don't fucking know. But I would have liked to see this continue. Because I don't know. That's not true. I don't know how bloated it was. It didn't seem as bloated to me as Assassin's Creed, so I was interested. Yeah, it's a little different though, Solid Python. You say that, but Zelda sold 10 million in 3 days. Zelda's selling 10 million in 3 days, if you're talking about Tears of the Kingdom, right? A huge part of it is the legacy of Zelda. Part of it is it was reviewed to the moon and back as a one, and I would agree, one of the best design games in many, many, many years. And a lot of it is also the fact that it was marketed like crazy because they knew they had a hit on their hands. It's not to say that things like this can't sell, but, you know, if it's a brand new IP, you got to have something a little... The best way to describe it is if you do YouTube a lot of times and you go to these channels and they say, here's what you don't want to do if you want to have a successful YouTube channel. Don't copy the big YouTubers. And people say, why not? Why can't I do my thumbnails like PewDiePie? And they're like, because it doesn't matter what PewDiePie puts on his thumbnail at this point. It doesn't matter what Mr. Beast puts on his thumbnail. He'll tell you it does, I'm sure. But ultimately, it's Mr. Beast, and if you're a fan, you're going to watch it, right? So the different rules apply to people who don't have that built-in audience. And this didn't have that built-in audience. And so there you go. There you go. It feels like a video game in the best way, says Ravnos, where sometimes Assassin's Creed felt more like a historical sim. Yeah, I get it. There's nothing about this artistically I'm pushing back on. I'm just talking about the sales. Like, I absolutely loved the art style for Calling All Cars, but I should have known better. I should have known the audience for that game would have been much larger if we didn't go cartoony. I don't know why I did it. I wasn't thinking. I just wasn't thinking. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about what Nintendo stumbles, sorta. You see this? Pikmin 4. Sorry. Pikmin 4's first week's sales in Japan were more than the previous 3 games combined. What? It's totally true. It's not a lie. It's absolutely not a lie. I can't help but be racist. It's true. That's true as well. Famitsu published the physical game sales chart. It's just physical, by the way. Keep that in mind. They ain't giving you the digital. They sold 400,000 copies in a week. The first Pikmin sold 100,000. The second one sold 161,000. The third sold 92,000. Right? You can say Pikmin yawn. Guess what, Ravnos? Ravnos in the chat says Pikmin yawn. I was right there with you yawning, pal. I was right there with you yawning. And ultimately, I saw this article with Miyamoto, and he was talking about why he felt, this is Video Games Chronicles, he's talking about why he felt that Pikmin hasn't done as well as a lot of the other Nintendo franchises. And he kind of accredited, he said, people think they're difficult. Miyamoto says, I get people find it more difficult when death is a factor. I didn't understand that. I die all the time in the other games too. But I think the franchise's strength of Pikmin lies in its relationship with mortality. If something is irreversible, you need to figure out a way to prevent undesired things from happening. I don't understand what he's talking about here, because things die. Hell, playing Donkey Kong, how many fucking times did Mario rotate 360 and go do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do? I mean, always. So I don't know what he means. But he says, I think people find it difficult for 2 reasons: the controls and the depth of gameplay. I spent a long time mulling over how we could convey these points as an interesting rather than difficult. They also attribute the success of this one to giving whatever this main character dude is, this dog, Ochi or whatever, that the Pikmin ride on, that you can switch between the dog and him and stuff. And anyway, the point being is, I played the demo. And I'd never really played a Pikmin before. I may have played the first one when it came into the office at Sony for, 20 minutes. I don't fucking know. It's really good. I was with Ravnos. I would have been like, yawn, not interested. And I have played the Wild at Heart Ravnos, and that is free on PS Plus, and that is really good. And I have played Tinykins. That is really good. But there's something about this that I played. I really enjoyed it. I really, really fucking enjoyed it. And so the demo's out. It's free. I recommend, picking it up and seeing if you like it, if you got yourself Switch. But Ravnos is not wrong. If you're curious about this kind of game and you don't have a Switch, the Wild at Heart is free on PS Plus. It's not, if I remember correctly, the Wild at Heart is like 2.5D. It looks more like Don't Starve, but it's a very similar kind of game. And then the other one is Tinykin, I think is what it's called, and that the last time I checked was on Game Pass. So they do exist, man. They are out there in various ways. So check it out if you're interested. But I will tell you, I plan on buying this in the next 6 months. It's really fucking good. It's not a walking game. It is what they do brilliantly in this game. It is a game. It is a game where you collect these little sea monkey kind of things called Pikmin. These little fucking things on the ground. They're different kind. There's frozen ones and red ones that do some. They whatever. And you got to find things in the level, and you got to build things. You got to kill things, and so it's a strategy action. Kind of real-time strategy, sort of, but not really. It's always played from this perspective where you're deciding where to source the Pikmin to do things and what you're doing and what the dog's doing. It's like, yeah, it's like Death Sauce says it's like squad management. Yeah, but it's squad management, at a very, it's not like 5 guys. It's like, 70 guys. Solid says, I played the demo and it's just such a relaxing game. It feels like meat and potatoes at home. It's wonderful. Yeah, I agree. Rocker Matt says it's a puzzle game. I didn't feel like it was a puzzle game, but I hear you. So you're saying, somebody in the chat is saying what Miyamoto is talking about when he talks about the death of these things is the Pikmin can die, and they can die violently. Fuck you, Joshua 3. Zuh. I'm so bored. Zuh. Why, Joshua 3? You know what? I'm done. It's Friday. I'm fucking done. Listen to me, goddammit. That's not what a cat penis looks like. You're goddamn right, Joshua 3. The point is, expand your palate. This is what it's like. This is what my life is like. I'm going to tell you. It ain't easy being me, bitches. Listen to me for a minute. This is what my life is like. It's like being a foodie and just adoring the unique flavors and the combinations of flavors and the presentation of the food. And then you go out to dinner with somebody who's not a foodie and they're like, can we get McDonald's? I like McDonald's. Where's the McDonald's around here? I know we're in a, 4-star rated Michelin restaurant, but they have Pokemon cards in the McDonald's Happy Meals. That's what you're like, Joshua 3. Anything different from shoot, shoot, bang, bang, and you go running for the hills. Fuck. Let's move forward. The Xbox pizza controller. Yeah, because look, man, apparently it smells like pizza, Jay, right? All right, let's move forward. I do want to tell you, I don't know why this came up. Came up on one search, The Adventures of Bayou Billy. I hadn't thought about this game in years. Remember Adventures of fucking Bayou Billy? I had a game that I was trying to push at Sony, and I know I would have never been able to make it with, Sony with this title, but it was called Shit Kickers. And I wanted to get The Rock, and this is before The Rock really became The Rock, and make like a good old boy, not like a redneck, like racist kind of thing, but like a good red state action hero video game. I have concept art for it somewhere. I'll put it up if I have time to find it today. But it was going to be called Shit Kickers. And I remember coming up on Bayou Billy and going, I remember Bayou Billy, which if you don't know is an NES game. Bayou Billy was this kind of, you could drive a Jeep and you had combat and you could shoot. And this is back in the day when that was a lot of shit that you could fucking do. And I just thought that would be so cool because there really isn't like a red state game hero. Remember when like the hunter games, the fucking hunter, deer hunter games were sold like crazy? And then like the Dukes of Hazzard Race from Home, that was a PS1 game, sold 1 million fucking copies. I remember looking at that and going, what the fuck? 1 million fucking copies. And I was like, we need a red state fucking hero in video games. Even though I don't agree politically with most of these fucks, I did grow up in Alabama and I understand part of the culture that's not racist. And I'd like to have that, you know, in a video game. I think it'd be successful. And I just wanted to share that on the off chance that, you know, anybody's listening and says, we want one of them too, Jaffe. Well, let's make it happen. Small town video game. That guy's a moron, man. That guy's a moron. What's his name? Not Toby Keith. Jason Aldean. Come on now. Small town. Fuck you, motherfucker. Fucking racist piece of shit. All right. I think it's time we move on. I think it's time we talk about this. Here's how you know I'm an upstanding citizen. This is for me on the Leadus podcast, one of our sponsors. I love the Leadus podcast. I love going on their show. This is something, I'm not going to play you the whole thing. It's 40 seconds. I will play the whole thing. Let me play this and I'll be back on the other side. This was what we did on the last Leadus podcast, which if you don't know is a show, it's a podcast that's a trivia show about video games. So the smarter you are about video games, the better you do. And they bring this up. I had never heard of this. And then they showed me another group who had done a similar thing. It was like RPG meets trivia, like D&D meets trivia. And I was like, that's the greatest fucking combination in the world. And I'm like, I want to make a whole new YouTube series of like, you know, a YouTube D&D campaign so the audience can play along and see if they can beat the campaign. And but then I would be like, yeah, but I got the idea from these guys. And then it's like, yeah, but we got the idea from these guys. And I don't want to be a bad guy, so maybe I'll get to do something with them. But here's 40 seconds of it, then we'll move on. But I wanted to play this to give a shout out to one of our great loyal sponsors, the Leadus Podcast, and also let you know that the latest episode, or one of the latest episodes, has this up, and you should check into it. Let me know what you think. Here you go.
We are rolling again, and we have Jaffe.
Yes, come at me, you foolish fiend.
I take this very serious.
Video game schools, and yet I see you're bleeding, bitch. Come at me with your tendrils of information and trivia, and I swear I shall put you down like the foolish dog you are.
You dare challenge me? Prepare for the consequences of your insolence.
I dare!
Oh my, I just got lightheaded.
Name 3 robot dinosaurs from Horizon.
Oh, fuck you. Name
Hey, you got the
piece
group
of
thing.
shit.
I have to sit and think.
We are rolling again, and we have Jaffe.
Yes, come at me, you foolish.
So the point being is I could not answer that question, so my character got killed, if I remember. But I love that. I love that combination of D&D role-playing mixed with video game trivia. How can you not fucking love that? Come on, now listen. Listen, give them a listen. They're on the link tree down below. But I think that's a great fucking idea. I want to see a whole series of games like that. Fuck you, PM45. He says I'm a damn nerd. You goddamn right. You play D&D. If you're one of these fuckers that play D&D and you sit around and you're like, okay, you're all embarrassed and shit. Yeah, I'll roll the dice. Okay, kill the guy. Yeah, I don't know. Use the magic, whatever. And you're just like, I'm so docile. Fuck you. You sit down at that chair. You fucking commit to the bit. You commit to the bit, boys. And you sit there and you say, am I a rogue? Am I a sorcerer? Am I a saucy sorcerer? I'd love to get like a sex worker who's a gamer. It's really true. Anyway, point being is, Spasbo says I've only played the VR Horizon game, so I might be able to answer the question. Yeah, I did not get that question at all. But I enjoyed it very much. It was a lot of fun. Give them a listen. Also, I want to let you know, it is mating season right now, and I don't know if you're looking for a lady or a man friend, but if you are, I want to give you a little advice sort of by way of what not to do. And I know you come to me for game news, game discussion, as well as love advice. Well, what's happening here is fascinating. So what you've got right here is you've got this man over here, we'll call him Todd, and this very beautiful woman, her name is Gina, okay? And he likes her. Look at him looking at her. I don't know if he's looking at her boobs or her throat, but he's into her. He digs her. He digs her. And they're both, he thinks they're like simpatico, because they're both, if you can't see the show, they're both wearing a Day One's Patch Kids t-shirt. Now, the Day One Patch Kids are also a wonderful sponsor of Gabbin' and Games, and these fellas, they do video game characters meets Garbage Pail Kids meets Cabbage Patch goddamn kids. Okay? You can find them in the link tree below. Okay? And so they got God of War. You can get them as towels and shirts and buttons and stickers and laptop covers and all kinds of crazy shit. It's a wonderful group of characters over there. Go give them a look. I would appreciate it. But I want to tell you about dating. So he's looking at this lady. Todd's looking at Gina going, hey, man, because you like Day One Patch Kids, we have something in common. We're going to fuck. And listen to her. She is not that easily manipulated, is what I would fucking say. She says, I only love Day One Patch Kids, loser. She is reflecting a new type of sexual preference. It's not bi or a or gay or straight. She identifies as someone who only wants to fuck the Day One Patch Kids. Think about that. Think about that as you were rounding up your next paycheck to take the lady folks or the male folks out on a Saturday night. That's the Day One Patch Kids. Find them. People like, Jesus, Jaffe, no one other than these sponsors will ever advertise on your show. Jaffe, we would like you to sponsor, we'd like to sponsor your show, and it's about HelloFresh, okay? And HelloFresh is like these boxes, and we bring them to your home, and you can make all kinds of healthy food. Could you do that, Jaffe? Hey, sure thing, HelloFresh, not a problem, pal. Hey, get HelloFresh, stick it up your asshole and see what you shit out. I got HelloFresh. I got 3 of the boxes of HelloFresh recently, and I wanted to see what the shit looked like from each of the boxes. So I ate all the content in box 1. I waited, had a bowel movement. I got a picture of it coming up right here in a second. That's what I would fucking do. And they would be like, you can go fuck yourself. You're not getting paid, bitch. And Ricardo's like, ay. Okay.
You shut your goddamn whore mouth.
You're goddamn right. Let's move on, shall we? I think we've had enough of this horsing around, of this malarkey. A cab says, sometimes I want to fuck my game disc. There's a hole after all. That's why you don't want to go digital. Now I get it. All you fuckers who are against digital, it's because you want to fuck the disc, you fucking creeps. Fucking creeps. Fonzie says, Jaffe, we feel you're perfectly suited to advertise to the dwells and junkyards demographics. Can I tell you a quick story before we get back to video games? My dad owned a couple of junkyards in Alabama. Now, back in the day, the steel business was a huge fucking business, especially in the South. And it went, shit's creek for a while there. And then, but at first we did really well. He did really fucking well. But I always struggled with, when I was a kid, it's like, what's your dad do for a job? Oh, he owns junkyards. And it just felt so, even though he made so much fucking money for a long time in that business, it just felt like, isn't that terrible to be ashamed of what your dad does? I mean, I wasn't ashamed of the work he did. I was just ashamed of, like, how do I tell people? It's like, well, he doesn't play in junk all day. You see, he takes the scrap and then he melts it down and sells it, and then people are like, dude, fuck you, dude. Fuck you, dude. It was cool, Fonzie, though. He had all these cool fucking cranes and machines and crushers and all kinds of shit there. Somebody, listen to this real quick. I'm going to get back to games, I promise. Sometimes, people would bring stuff in and sell it to the yard. Just call him a blacksmith, says Drove. That's right. So, and one day, we got this message that the FBI was at my dad's office, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? Apparently somebody had sold the junkyard, or one of the junkyards, a car, and the car had a bunch of TNT in the back, and they thought it was somehow tied up with the mafia, and so they came and I guess paid him for the car, and then said, look, we need to take this as evidence because we think this belongs to the mob. So that's my mafia story. Gaming Nading, thank you, buddy. thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that very, very, very much, man. You've already been a member, but thank you for rejoining the Diet Soda Soldiers. This goes out to you, buddy, right there. And then I think earlier today we had we also had somebody buy, which I really appreciate. I just kind of hadn't gotten around to saying it yet, and there it is right there. We had Mutant Mo, our very own Mutant Mo, gifting a Jaffe membership to Alex S., who literally has never paid for a thing, always gets these gifted memberships, and somehow still manages to complain about the content. So thank you for that, Mutant Mo. And Alex S., welcome back. Step to the front of the line and tell me what I'm doing wrong today. I can't wait to hear. Okay. I saw this on NeoGAF today, and I wanted to talk about it. Well, it's a thread that's been going on for a while. It's a thread over on NeoGAF about game developers, myself included, that have kind of fallen out of favor. John Romero's listed in there, Peter Molyneux, Cliff Bleszinski, all the guys and girls that were kind of the game Rockstar designer game gods in the early 2000s, whatever, late 90s. And people were like, well, why? And it's most people, it's all dumb. I don't, my take on all that. But this one really struck me, and I did want to talk about it, and I wanted to talk about it as it relates to something somebody said earlier, which is, oh, Jaffe, you're so classy. You're always giving the team props. And I'm like, well, that's not, like I said earlier, that's not class. That's just like, why would I not give people the shout outs they deserved? I didn't fucking make the game by myself. But anyway, this guy, his name is Archangel Morph. Yeah. He says, some of the names in this thread, let me just bring it up so you can read it so you know I'm not lying to you. Jesus Christ. Some of the game names in this thread are a telltale sign of how some industry figures have become victims of their own success. Games have never been an auteur sport. Not over the last 20 plus years. That's not true, but I know what he's saying. A lot of the figures named here got a lot of cred over the years off the back of the hard work and expertise of no names in their teams. Then when they took their own hubris and powered it alone, their genuine lack of talent quickly caught up with them. Now, here's what I want to talk about. Here's what I want to talk about when it relates to that. I've never had hubris, so this doesn't connect with me. But where he basically says, this did resonate with me. This resonated with me right here. Powered it alone, their genuine lack of talent quickly caught up with them. Now, I do not think that applies to my design skills or certainly not my IP building skills at all. I think I was and remain, especially as a sort of creative world builder, even to this day, I'm fucking pretty great. I'm a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal.
How dare you?
Okay. But what I will agree with him on, that I don't even think it was a mistake on my part, but I didn't know this. I did not realize how crucial the structure of Sony was to my success. And not just the team, because the team, being able to surround yourself with great teammates was a result of that structure, was a result of the confidence and freedom and quality of people in HR and legal and management that made sure we were building good quality teams that could actually execute on this shit, right? And I just figured when I left Sony, well, I can just go build that for myself, for our own company. And I'm not shitting on Eat, Sleep, Play at all, and I'm certainly not shitting on Bartlett Jones. We had good teams. But that was not my skill, and I did not have talent at that. And so I do think, at least in my case, and I can't speak to any of the other designers that are brought up in this thread, that I think that was exactly right. It was like, my success was a big part of my own shit that I was good at, but as much, if not more, was because I got lucky and was working with really fucking talented people that could do the management and the hiring and the programming and all of that shit. And so I don't know, wanted to bring it up because I was surprised this kind of thing still gets talk in forums, and obviously it was something that was directly related to me, and I was like, that gives me pause. I remember once when Amy Hennig had shipped Uncharted 2, and her and I were friends on Facebook, and I reached out to her, and I was just like, oh my God, congratulations, all the reviews are amazing, people love it. I said, I guess we should expect you pretty soon to head out and leave Naughty Dog and start your own shop. And I never forgot what she wrote me back on Facebook. She said, she says, oh no, I could never find a team this good anywhere else. And so she knew, and I don't think she left of her own accord, but that's a different story and, whatever. But she knew, I wish I had listened. I wish I understood that. But it's just, it's sort of how you learn what you learn. So I thought it would be an interesting story. Shut up. Jesus fucking Christ. I swear to God.
I would like to rear up and jackknife my legs and kick you both with my foot bone.
Hey, you know what's interesting? I think I may have pissed off the Last Stand Media folks, because they used to call me all the time and say, come on this show, come on that show. And I think I'm just speculating. I don't know if thank you, Scott. Scott said I enjoyed the story. Thank you, buddy. I'm just speculating here. Hang on, where's this go? Oh, that's what she wondered. I might just be speculating here, but when I did that thing, the constellations with Lord Cognito, I think probably I kind of pissed off some people over there. And I wasn't trying to, that's the danger and the joy of me. That's the fun of me. I'm not a mean guy, but I have poor impulse control, and I don't really care about political things. And it probably put Colin in a tough situation. Because I really wasn't trying to call anybody out and be like, haha, I got you, motherfucker. I was literally having a conversation about, this is a fascinating topic to me. How do you cover the industry without access? But how do you get access without damaging your coverage? Because they're not going to give you access if you're totally honest. And I've always loved that about what Colin does because, with Last Media Standing, because he's had the ability to, Last Stand Media, I know, I get always mixed up, because he's able to say, hey, I don't really care. I want to be a slave to the audience and their demands. I don't give a fuck what Konami wants, right? But I feel bad now. I don't regret it. I wouldn't take it back because it was an honest, non-cruel question. But now I kind of feel like, oh man, that sucked. I like doing stuff with those guys. Isn't that terrible? But some people would say, this is what I'm saying to you. This is my brain, fellas. It's probably nothing. Like Colin might hear this, or Dustin or Mika, and go, what are you talking about? That's A. Because you do that when you have a brain like mine. I've been tested, When you have a brain like mine, you catastrophize a lot more than you should. At least I can recognize I'm probably catastrophizing. That's part of it. It's probably nothing. But I worry about things like this. Overthinking too much, Brendan. That's right. Arath Izzle says, you can be honest without being a critical hitmonger. I know in most industries they respect constructive criticism. Yeah, but I wasn't being a critical hitmonger. If they don't have your back on the last, I think they do. Let's be clear. Let me be really fucking clear. I do not want to suggest anything negative about those folks over there. I haven't talked to anybody. I'm just saying in my brain, that is like, oh shit, man. Did I burn that bridge? Fuck. That's my brain. It's based on nothing other than my catastrophizing. Let's be clear on that. You should hire a producer, says Ricardo, to help you with that. I'm trying to find one that speaks English. Mavizzle says, Jaffe, mellow out. I'm not going to apologize, Joshua. Joshua 3, who couldn't be bothered to engage with us on conversation about Pikmin, suddenly wakes up from his eternal slumber, has something to say. Jaffe, just apologize. For what? For what? I don't regret saying it. It was an honest thing. I just, there are people in the world that are really good at playing the game of life. And I'm pretty good at it, but I step in it a lot too because I don't care about the rules. Have you ever been a PR guy? No, Kevin, but I'll tell you what, I have absolutely pissed off my fair share of PR guys, and I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about that at all. I did not call Cog a shill, you shithead, Mavizzle. I never said he was a shill. I said about... I'm not going to relitigate the whole goddamn thing, you fucking...
Go suck a big fucking dick.
I've been away from my soundboard for too long, you guys. I miss my soundboard. Let me see. What else we got lined up? I'll make a video about that. That could be its own fucking thing. Let me ask you guys a question. Jaffe, I watched Dear Mama yesterday because of you, and I loved it. What is Dear Mama? What the fuck is Dear Mama? Oh my God, I'm losing my fucking mind. I don't even know what he's talking about. Clearly, I recommended it. Let me look up Dear Mama real quick. What the fuck? Dear Mama? Isn't that a Kanye West song? Oh, the Tupac documentary. Boy, I'll tell you what. Wasn't that something? What a great documentary. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was wonderful, man. It was absolutely wonderful. Jay says, nah, man, I've already dealt with some of my favorite game guys splitting. There's no way that is happening again. I don't know what you mean, good sir. Yeah, that Tupac documentary was awesome. I didn't know much about the dude. I really didn't. I mean, when he was kind of, in the spotlight, I wasn't really listening to a lot of rap music. Kevin says they found new evidence. When? When did they find new evidence in the Tupac murder? I would love to know about that. Hang on one second, fellas. Let me ask you guys a question about this. You called Mr. Matty out, I believe, for them taking photos. I didn't, though. I didn't call him out. I don't even know what that means. I mean, I do, but that's not what I was doing. Okay, anyway, here's the point. I am only into Call of Duty in a meaningful way recently. Like Call of Duty Modern... I've always played the Call of Duties, but I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It's really fucking good. For me, I like it a lot. I know some people don't. But I don't have the institutional knowledge about this to know, if this is par for the course, okay? So, tell me this. Is this normal to have Nicki Minaj in the goddamn game? Is it normal to have, where's this guy they put in? There's this fucking, a rat character, right? I mean, I know this starts to feel like Fortnite. I know they've always had some crazy costumes and operator skins, but they all seemed a little grounded in sort of a paramilitary kind of thematic. But it seems they've gone full Fortnite with this, which is, again, I don't care either way. Yeah, but Snoop Dogg being in Black Ops as what did he look like? Was he dressed as a rapper, or was he a dude with military gear? Because she doesn't look like Nicki Minaj, who happens to be an operative. She looks like Nicki Minaj, who's about to go on stage at, Coachella. Oh, so Snoop Dogg was walking around as a rapper? Let me see. I got to see that. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know that. That's amazing to me that the audience doesn't mind. You'd think the audience for these games that are, really kind of take this shit serious and enjoy the military aspect would go, no thank you. Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb. I don't mind this one where he kind of just happens to be Snoop Dogg dressed as a military guy. That's cool. But you got to dress like some kind of, 70s blaxploitation character. Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb. I don't care. I'm still going to play it. It's just bizarre. I was curious. I didn't know. Now I do. Thank you guys for educating me. You guys are very nice people. All right, fellas, I have some more news, but I'm bored of it. We'll talk about it later. Let's talk about this. Yeah, we'll talk about the Silent Hill stuff later. No, it's not big. It's not breaking news. I'm kind of fascinated by the Silent Hill Ascension. There's this company, right? You guys know these guys. What do they call themselves? They're doing it with the Justice League. They're doing it with Silent Hill and Borderlands. They're called Genvid. And it's basically kind of, Bandersnatch, Choose Your Own Adventure, but done at a huge scale with everybody voting and affecting the story. I read a really interesting article about how it works on Polygon, but until I see it, I certainly think it's interesting. I certainly think it's fascinating. But I don't know if it's going to work, but the trailers they've shown kind of look pretty good. I know some people were kind of shitting on the trailer they showed at Comic-Con, but this is Silent Hill Ascension, and it's basically, my understanding is every day you're getting a new scene or group of scenes or whatever, and you have 24 hours to vote, and you also have 24 hours to play mini games like, pound the button to open the door and all that. And then all of that data comes in to the team, and based on what the community, which may be 10 people or maybe, I'm sure they're hoping, 5 million people, the story changes and they have all the content ready to go the next day. And then at the end of it's not mobile crap. It's on everything. It's on PC, and it's an interesting idea. Cosmic Bandito, to just call it mobile crap, I don't even understand that. It's, it may be bad. I'm not hanging my hat on this fucking thing, but it's a neat idea, especially if it's a good story. Can you imagine a story you're really into and people are like, oh my God, I hope this guy doesn't die. Okay, well, you got to vote, and the story's got to be great. That's the thing. It's like the technology's there, but if the story you wash out after 2 episodes, who gives a fuck? But I am interested. And they announced they're doing it with Justice League. As well, at Comic-Con, they announced they're also doing one with building the Justice League. So I think it's a neat idea. Yeah, I don't think mobile games are crap. I think that's such a strange view. I like mobile games, man. There's some really good ones out there. 40 million PlayStations. Yeah, I think that's great. I think we all knew they announced they had sold 40 million. Obviously, it's a little bit behind where the PS4 was, but, you can't really blame anyone for that. That's the pandemic and the supply chain, which was heavily hit by the pandemic. So I think people love it. They adore it. But and I love it. I love my P. I'm playing. That's where I bought Double Dragon Gaiden today on that. So I am curious. I saw that Xbox hardware was down 13-14%, but their game division was up 1%. The real interesting question is now going to be when Call of Duty and all those games get on. Starfield, if it's great, which I think it will be, comes out. If that can't move that fucking needle, then they should pack it up. There should not be another chance. After that, they should just be like, okay, well, if we can't win with this strategy, let's get a whole another group of people in here, or let's just get out of video games entirely, because this is not what we do. Let's go third party or sell the few IP we have that may be semi-worthy. Oh my God, I love that so much. Okay. What do you want to talk about, fellas? We got a little bit more time before the end of the show. What's happening in your world? Talk about whatever you want. It's Friday, man. It's fucking Friday. Canada B says, hire Bobby Kotick to replace Phil Spencer. Sony will be dead in 3 years. I saw Bobby Kotick on, I saw him in a seance when we went to hell. Come on, they're not all going to work. They're not all going to work. Sometimes the jokes are going to be funny, and sometimes they're going to miss out, okay? But guess what? I don't edit the live show, okay? I'm not like, yeah, that one didn't work, cut. That one didn't work, cut. No. You get the raw shit here. Who else is giving you that? You sons of bitches. But the joke didn't work. Listen. Yeah, Ravner says there's 0 point to owning an Xbox. You can play all the games on Samsung streaming boxes, PCs. Yeah, absolutely. Most of them, you're absolutely right. Just like the Twisted Metal show, says Adam. The Twisted Metal show was really good. I mean, for what it was. You know, I mean, and it makes sense that the Zombieland Deadpool and Cobra Kai guys are responsible. Because nobody goes to those fucking shows and is like, I want... You know, if you tuned into Twisted Metal on Peacock and you were expecting, you know... Martin Scorsese's The Last of Us. Nah, you probably got sold a bill of goods. Raul says, who was actually asking for a Twisted Metal show? I don't fucking know, but I'm glad they made it because it's a lot of fun. No, I'm here for you, Master Luke. I'm not going anywhere. Oh, I owe you an email, by the way. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to share this. Here's what Master Luke says to me. He writes me the other day because he's been doing these amazing pieces of art for the show. And he says, well, oh, Ricardo's on Skype. I'm sorry, Ricardo. I just saw you. He says, I'm like, I want to pay you to make some of these fucking things for me. And he says, I'm not a professional artist. Why would you pay me? Sir, because your shit's good, man. Because no one should work for free. And because I'm going to exploit the shit out of it once I own it. And I don't want to get sued by you in 20 years. So all three of those sit pretty much equal on the thing. I never sent your birthday card. Nope. And I'm going to. I have to for the people who want it. But we're changing all the tiers. I was waiting for Ricardo to get back. We'll be dropping to a $9.99 Cult of Calypso tier next week. We'll be dropping to a $29.99 God of War tier next week. We'll be adding a couple of shows specifically for those tiers, and we will be slowly phasing out the other ones. But if there's anything that you wanted that I promised that I didn't deliver, I will work with Ricardo to get you that. Like Mavizzle, I'll give you a card, but I'd rather give you a private birthday video, frankly. That sounds filthy. And it was meant to. Hey! Yeah. The highest tier will be $30, yes. But there will be a $99 tier for people who just have a shit ton of money. And they're just like, either they have a parasocial relationship with me or they just have a shit ton of money. And it'll be there. And they'll get their own screen on the show every episode and all that shit. But, we'll be at $4.99, $9.99, and $29.99. And the $29.99 will, I'll tell you about it next week. I want to wait for Ricardo to get settled back in and we'll get back to you. What's it going to be called? The tier right now, I'm thinking of calling it, I'll tell you actually if you're curious. I'm not dividing the community, NATO, you shit. I'm trying to bring the prices down so we can get people who are like, okay, I want to support you, Jaffe, and I want to do some of the more fun stuff you do with the higher tiers, but I can't afford it. All right, let's do a little work. Let's do a little work. See what we can do. Hang on, Google Docs. I'll tell you what I'm calling it right now. Fire Sprite's working on a new Twisted Metal game. I'm pretty sure they are, yeah. pretty sure they are. I don't know if it's going to be based on the show. I think it will be a hit. I mean, it's already a bigger hit than I anticipated, right? I don't know what Peacock or Sony thinks a hit needs to be. Like, how do they judge that? I don't know what their metrics are, or what they look at, what metrics they look at to determine if it's a successful show. But I certainly fucking hope so, because I'm enjoying it, and I want to see another season. Hang on, I'm trying to get this up. 1 second. You're saying viewership. Yeah, but it's viewership. It's probably things like subscription, like how many people subbed for the show and stayed subbed and didn't churn out, stuff like that. I don't know. I'll find the name of it later. It's some weird acronym. I like immersing myself in the games and learning every mechanic and be the gorilla. I just sometimes I just read things and I really should just be like, wait, before you read it, Jaffe. Yeah, I'm digging the show though. I'm enjoying it very, very much. I don't know who LA Knight is. Who is that? Dano Genesis. Did I direct every Twisted Metal game? I co-directed with Scott 1, 2, Black in 2012. I had nothing to do with 3, 4, or Head On. So there you go. I think that was all Scott. LA Knight's a wrestler. I see. Yeah, I'll do a full series review, of course. And I'm going to do probably 6 videos. I want to do the 10 things I love the most, the 10 things I was bummed by, the 10 things I want to see in season 2. There's going to be, I want to do a spoiler cast with members. There's a lot I want to talk about, but I want to get through the whole thing first. And again, by the way, Cult Calypso members are higher. If you want to hang out at 5:30, I'm going to be looking at things on my television. At what age did I start playing games, says Nick, with my kids? I'm a new dad and excited to do a bunch of stuff with my little ones. So, I mean, honestly, I was playing Downhill Domination with my daughter. You want a custom cartoon idea right now from me? I was playing that when she was a newborn. I would sit her in my lap and just bounce her when she was trying to fall asleep. So, and I play games with my son still to this day, but neither of them are gamers. Like, they like games with their friends, Among Us, Roblox, Minecraft. They'll play GTA Online with no one else but their friends just to fuck around. But neither of them are gamers or geeks or anything like that. They just don't have any interest in any of that shit. Would I direct an episode of Twisted Metal 2? I'm not a movie director. I don't know. I mean, I think, look, I like the creative process. If there's something in it for me, and they actually needed me, which it's clear they don't. I've always made it clear to them I like those guys. If they need anything, I'm around. But I don't need to direct an episode of a TV show. I will be bringing. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin says you did awesome in Black. I appreciate that, but I will tell you, I want to have the writer or the co-writer of Black on the show pretty soon to talk about the stories there. If they do a season 2 and they ask me to do a cameo again like they did the first season, I would absolutely do it. I did direct the movies in Twisted 1, yeah, and 2, and Black. And I co-directed the movies in the last Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal Head On. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I loved the tone of Twisted Metal Head On. But Twisted Metal Head On is the reason, I don't mean literally the reason, like we had a falling out, but it's such a good indicator of how Scott Campbell and I are different and how we kind of grew apart as game designers. Because if you notice in that game, almost everything homes. And Scott will be the first to tell you he would not consider himself a gamer. The reason after we walked away, I walked away from Eat Sleep Play, they went to mobile is because that's what Scott was playing. A lot of casual games. That's what he liked. And so when I was looking at Head On, which I did enjoy and I finished, it felt more shallow than I would prefer because all the weapons just pretty much did the work for me. It was so many fire and forget weapons that I was just like, it's not for me. It's not for me. Hello, RPG. Do you think there's a chance of a new Twisted game if the show's successful? Of course. I think they're already making a new Twisted Metal game. What am I more proud of, my kids or my games? Proud's a weird verb. Let's say, what do I love more? My kids, hands down, easy. Easy. But I love the games I've worked on as well. But proud is I don't know. Probably I'm more proud of my games because your kids, when you actually have kids, you realize relatively quickly that there's not a lot you do other than support them and protect them and give them guidance. But ultimately, they come pre-wired. All this stuff about, like I said, my kids don't play games. I read to my children every single night from when they were in the womb, seriously, no joke, to they got tired of it when they were about 12. They would get ready for bed. We would sit in the hallway. I would read book after book after book. They enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. We'd go to the bookstore together all the time. It was great. To this, I was up till 2 a.m. last night reading a book. To this day, I've never seen either one of these kids read a book for joy, for entertainment. So I'm just saying, I can't be proud or not proud. They are who they are, and I'm just grateful I get to kind of be there for the helping them launch out into the world. No, I would not put Kratos as a driver, Jay, if we made a new one. The production of the Twisted Metal 2 comic book. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I know David Bamberger was the marketing guy, good dude, and I know we were looking for things to do to promote it. I don't know if I was and remain a huge comic book fan. I don't know if I proposed it or he did, but somehow the idea of making a comic book as a promotional item came up. I said, great. I said, I would like to work on the story, but I don't want to write it. I've never written a comic, blah, blah, blah. And he says, okay, well, who do you want? And I said, I would love to get Garth Ennis. If you don't know Garth Ennis, back then he was writing Preacher. He created Preacher. He did a comic series called Hitman for DC that was insanely violent. It was like their version of The Punisher. And now he's gone on, of course, to do The Boys. Right? So fucking violent and just X-rated crazy motherfucker. Right? There's a scene in Preacher, not the show. I never watched the show. It may have been in there, but there was a scene in Preacher where the bad guy literally had this kink where they found him in this warehouse, and he had built this giant woman, like 25 feet tall, out of meat. And he would go in there in private and he would fuck the meat woman, right? This is Garth Ennis' brain. Preacher's power was he had the word of God. So whatever he told someone when he used the word of God, you knew because the word balloon, the text in the word balloon was red. So whatever he said, they had to do. And the one I never, Paul says, God, I wish that was me. The one I just thought was so clever and horrible was, I think Preacher, towards the beginning of the series, caught this guy abusing some woman on the beach. And he saved the woman, and he told the guy, using the word of God, he said, count every grain of sand on this fucking beach. And he left. And you're like, whoa, that's harsh, right? And then as the series, like years later, was wrapping up, he ends up back on the beach and the guy's still counting, and he's so furious because he's like, the winds blew shit. I've had to restart so many times. He's gone insane. It's just insane. It's fucking crazy, man. Anyway, so I wanted Garth Ennis to write it. And Garth Ennis is like, I'm too busy. Let me recommend a colleague of mine, and I want to say, who's very similar aesthetically. I want to say was it Jamie Robinson? Is that right? And so he ended up being the writer at Garth Ennis's recommendation. And so I probably had a couple of phone calls with him. And then he went off and he turned it in, and we saw the pages, and they made a comic about it that I think you got for pre-ordering or something at GameStop. And I used to have one. It's long since gone. I know somebody who worked at 989 that still has one, like a pristine edition, and that, I think they're worth quite a bit of money now, like a lot of money, not like $70, but like $10K I've seen some of them go for. I saw this one guy, I think it was Rocker Matt, sent me a thing on Discord where this one guy selling his Twisted Metal collection for $12,000. And I think the reason he is one of the things he's got in there is the Japanese PC Twisted Metal box in the game, pristine, because those are really hard to find. I've had a couple of those, and I've sold those for like $4,000 each one. And I didn't even go. Somebody reached out to me and said, "Do you have it?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Can I buy it?" And I think it was like something I wanted to teach my daughter how to do all the eBay stuff. I says, "Well, if you deal with my daughter," I think she set it all up, but if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, there's some stuff from those games that is super valuable. It was Ravenous' 4,000 for what? Maybe it was 2,000. There was something in there. It was a relatively pristine copy of the Windows Japanese version of Twisted Metal 1 that you could play on Windows, which only came out in Japan, if I remember correctly. So, Night Jokers, you're welcome on behalf of all of us who did it. How much would it be to buy some autographed Twisted Metal? And God, I don't really charge for that. The issue is I have terrible ADD, and I don't want to do any work on that. Like, if you ran into me, in a mall somewhere, I'd sign whatever till the cows come home, whatever you need. But what I don't want to do is have somebody mail something, and I'm on the hook for going down there and signing it and then sending it back. And I don't do that. Not because I don't appreciate people asking, but it's hard enough for me to make a fucking doctor's appointment. Anything boring, my brain just kind of shoves to the back of the of the shoebox, and it's just, what does that mean, Jaffe? I don't know. All right, fellas. Friday, Gabbin' and Games. If you're a Cult Calypso member and you're interested, I'll see you over on the Discord at 5:30. I may go over there sooner than that, though, and play a little Double Dragon Gaiden on the Diet Soda Soldier Theater. So if you're a Diet Soda Soldier and you want to see what that game looks like, maybe I'll play that around 5 o'clock. No promises, but I definitely will be there at 5:30. In the meantime, though, Master Luke, I owe you a response. I'll get back to you. You guys do well. Be well. Have a good weekend. I'll be streaming a bunch this weekend, putting videos up. Thank you guys for the support, for the super chats, for the memberships, and just being here and talking about video games. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you soon. Hey, Brian Watkins. Brian Watkins lives inside my heart. Be well. There's a new sound in the soundboard? Let me see. Fuck you, child. Jesus Man?
Jesus, man.
I've heard that one. What's it called? What is it? I don't see any new ones. Don't the new ones go at the bottom? I see Fuck You, Child. Fuck you, child. You will learn the wisdom of your elders. Got it right. But I don't know. Close and reopen it. Okay, let me see. Hang I want to fuck my game disc. There's a hole after all. That's the best. I want to fuck my game disc. There's a hole after all. Be well, you guys. See you soon.